Ngorongoro, a massive volcanic crater in Tanzania, is not a tranquil scene when viewed from its mist-covered rim. The 100 square mile depression functions as a natural arena where nearly 30,000 large animals test their endurance in a relentless cycle. As dawn touches the crater wall, herds of Cape buffalo tighten formation, forming a barrier of curved horns around the Ngorongoro swamp. Behind tall grasses, lionesses keep a low profile and wait for the right moment to move. A short burst can decide the outcome of a hunt. But a missed step may result in broken bones from a buffalo's horn. Above, griffon vultures circle the air, using sharp vision to scan for blood or unusual movement. On the ground, spotted hyenas follow the lions, ready to seize protein whenever a weakness appears. Farther out, adult elephants break through thorn bushes. Lesser flamingos gather at shallow waters to filter algae, drawing vultures to descend lower. Every leap, counterattack fallen flesh, and exposed bone helps keep Ngorongoro's ecological gears in motion. This is a system where power matters only when applied at the right moment and in the right place. The Ngorongoro Crater and its surrounding conservation area in northern Tanzania serve as an open laboratory for evolution and ecological balance. The caldera, about 100 square miles wide and nearly 2,000 feet deep, was formed 2 to 3 million years ago after the collapse of a large volcano. The crater rim encloses the basin almost entirely, preserving humidity, blocking winds, and creating stable conditions that allow a rich variety of wildlife to reside year-round. Ngorongoro supports more than 25,000 large mammals, including nearly the full set of Africa's Big Five: lions, elephants, black rhinos, Cape buffalo, and leopards. A high density of lions contributes to a healthier herbivore population through natural selection. Weaker, ill, or aging individuals are removed, reducing disease transmission and preserving the grass supply. Inside the crater, patches of salt flats, freshwater marshes, perennial streams, and Larai forest are scattered but strategically located. This spatial arrangement allows animals to move based on their needs for water, minerals, and shade. Elephants often alternate with buffalo and antelopes in creating trails through light woodland, resulting in shared paths and increased gene flow between herds. As a result, Ngorongoro experiences fewer territorial conflicts than areas like the Serengeti, lowering the risk of injury and non-predatory deaths. Ngorongoro is a rare example of how an ancient geological remnant can transform into a natural ecological fortress. Its strength lies in richness and balance. while its vulnerability stems from limited carrying capacity and human impact. Understanding both sides is key to ensuring that this open laboratory of evolution continues to exist for future generations. The Ngorongoro Crater is a closed arena where lions lead the food chain in a different way than in the open grasslands of the neighboring Serengeti. The bowl-shaped terrain spans about 12 miles in diameter, with crater walls rising over 2,000 feet. Forming a natural barrier that keeps prey inside year-round. This physical enclosure provides lions with a stable and permanent food supply, thanks to the continuous presence of grazing animals. The lion population in the crater once exceeded 60 individuals, reaching one of the highest predator densities in East Africa. Without the need for long-distance migration, lions conserve energy, build fat reserves more effectively, and maintain impressive muscle mass. Adult males often weigh over 440 pounds, while females average around 350 pounds. However, the same crater wall that offers protection also limits genetic exchange. Historical records document outbreaks of foot and mouth disease and tick infestations that weakened entire prides. Yet fresh genetic material struggled to enter the crater for recovery. The most visible consequences included higher rates of fatty liver, misaligned teeth, and joint cartilage degeneration in lions born between 1980 and 2000, up to 30% higher than in open populations. The Conservation Authority conducts regular genetic monitoring and has considered introducing outside lions to prevent a genetic bottleneck. In terms of hunting strategy, Ngorongoro lions maintain a dual-speed model: solitary hunts for smaller prey and group hunts for targets over 660 pounds. The crater floor is relatively flat and lacks tall vegetation, which forces lionesses to reduce their approach distance to under 100 feet before launching an attack. This limitation leads to highly precise coordination. Ambushes on Cape Buffalo succeed 27% of the time. However, the closed space also contributes to internal conflict. Ngorongoro rarely sees coalitions of young males entering to overthrow dominant groups. As a result, a single male coalition may maintain control for 6 to 8 years, twice the African average. Longer reigns help protect cubs, but also raise the risk of inbreeding when dominant males mate with females from subsequent generations. Genetic studies show that MHC diversity here is 25% lower than in open populations, reducing the lion's immune flexibility against new pathogens. The lion's primary food sources include herds of Cape buffalo, zebras, wildebeests, and Thomson's gazelles. Another notable advantage comes from the size of the mane. Due to the cooler climate compared to lowland plains, male lions in Ngorongoro often grow thicker, darker, and fuller manes. This trait enhances reproductive status and provides neck protection during fights with rival males. However, a denser mane also retains more heat. During hot periods, males must rest longer, leaving the hunting burden to females. When males are less active in hunts, the success rate drops against adult buffalo. The pride then shifts focus to young wildebeests, which are easier to kill but offer lower nutritional value. As a result, the lions must hunt more frequently to meet their energy demands. Beyond genetic isolation, human pressures are increasing. The western rim of the crater borders Maasai grazing lands, where cattle numbers are rising. These cattle can carry lumpy skin disease, which spreads to Cape buffalo and later to lions through infected bites. After the 2020 outbreak, the average body weight of female lions dropped by 15 pounds, and lactation periods extended by 15 days due to lower protein in the milk. Wildlife authorities installed partial fencing to prevent livestock intrusion, but this barrier also blocks the migration route of Grant's gazelles. This shift alters prey distribution and impacts the ecological structure within the crater. The Ngorongoro Crater is where African buffalo demonstrate that a grazing species can form a steel barrier capable of halting top predators. Inside the 100 square mile basin, buffalo benefit from year-round access to fresh grass and water, maintaining a population of around 800 individuals, an unusually high density in a closed ecosystem. The stable food supply keeps them in peak physical condition, turning this area into a natural front line that challenges every lion pride. Body size provides a direct advantage. An adult buffalo weighs between 1,430 and 1,980 pounds, stands nearly 5.6 feet tall at the shoulder, and has skin up to 5 millimeters thick. Resistant even to claws. Their horns fuse at the base and grow up to nearly 5 feet long. Forming a wedge capable of breaking a lion's rib cage when the head is lowered. For this reason, predators usually target only the weak or elderly individuals. Individual strength is multiplied by social structure. Herds of 50 to 300 individuals keep calves at the center, with adult males forming an outer shield. When alarmed, the defensive circle rises and males launch immediate counterattacks. As a result, buffalo herds experience significantly lower casualty rates compared to antelope groups. This discipline protects genetic lines and gives calves time to mature. Herd behavior also contributes ecological benefits. Buffalo trample weeds, enrich soil with nitrogen-rich dung, and host oxpecker birds that reduce parasites by feeding on ticks. This interaction speeds up grass regeneration after rainfall, creating a sustainable food loop for other herbivores, and eventually for lions. Long-term studies show that areas with large buffalo herds have significantly higher plant diversity. However, large body mass increases dependence on water. During the dry season, as Lake Magadi shrinks, entire herds cluster around a few damp channels, exposing them to ambush by lions. In addition, buffalo body temperature rises quickly under direct sun, slowing reaction times and turning midday into a vulnerable period. The crater's enclosed space also causes genetic pressure. The high rim blocks migration, lowering genetic variation compared to open populations and reducing resistance to new pathogens. When buffalo come into contact with Maasai livestock along the western rim, lumpy skin disease bacteria can spread rapidly. Vaccination becomes mandatory, but temporary fencing used to isolate cattle also narrows the natural passageways of gazelles. For lions, buffalo are both a high nutrition meal and a dangerous opponent. Lionesses lead the hunt, moving through tall grass before accelerating within 100 feet of the target. Males join only when the prey weighs more than 1,100 pounds. Success rates hover around 30%, but the risk of being gored remains constant. This balance forces lions to maintain coordinated techniques and compels buffalo to sharpen their defensive responses, creating a cycle of mutual selection. The strengths of Ngorongoro's buffalo include large size, fused horns, herd discipline, and consistent access to grass and water. Their weaknesses lie in water dependency, difficulty dissipating heat, low genetic diversity, and vulnerability to livestock-borne diseases. Effective conservation requires three key actions. Managing water during the late dry season, creating controlled corridors for gene flow, and preventing invasive grazing by livestock. The ongoing conflict between buffalo and lions sustains the ecological balance of the crater. Neither side is invincible. Their strengths and weaknesses interlock like gears, driving the functioning of the Ngorongoro grassland. Understanding both sides helps conservationists avoid tipping the balance and offers audiences a clear, logical, and realistic view of the extraordinary defense system of one of Earth's most powerful herbivores, a living front line in the ancient Savannah. Lake Magadi and the Ngorongoro Swamp sit at the center of the Ngorongoro Crater, acting as a water pump that sustains life throughout the basin. The lake is shallow and covers only a few square kilometers, but it receives continuous inflow from the Munje River, Oljoro Nuki Stream, and the Ngoi Tokitok Hot Spring, which keep the surrounding mud moist year-round. Because of this, zebras, antelopes, buffalo, and flamingos come to drink, bathe, and feed without needing to migrate out of the crater. The most important advantage is the reliability of water. Fresh grass grows quickly after rainfall. Alkaline algae support bird populations. Mineral-rich mud helps large animals recover faster. Shorter food chains reduce energy expenditure, enabling one of the highest wildlife densities in East Africa within a closed ecosystem of 100 square miles. This advantage allows a small population of black rhinos, around 30 individuals, to survive in Ngorongoro, even as the species nears extinction in other regions. Each adult weighs between 2,000 and 2,900 pounds and measures about 11.5 feet in length. Their thick gray skin is flexible enough to move through thorny brush. Their front horn, made of keratin and up to 20 inches long, serves both as a defensive weapon and as a tool for uprooting acacia roots. An underutilized food source. The crater's steep walls make it difficult for poachers to access, while lions rarely target rhinos due to their thick skin, sharp horns, and armored bodies. However, the 2,000-foot-high rim creates a genetic weakness by blocking gene exchange with outside populations. A 2023 study showed that the rhino's immune gene diversity in Ngorongoro has dropped to just 60% of the recommended level. This left them vulnerable to the dry season mouth ulcer virus in 2022, when 3 calves died within 6 weeks. Their solitary nature adds further risk. With a gestation period of 15 months and an average 4-year interval between calves, mating opportunities are rare. Conservation staff use satellite tags and occasionally guide younger rhinos toward shared grasslands to increase mating chances. However, this artificial intervention may cause stress, leading rhinos to break trees and injure themselves. The most direct threat remains the horn. Because of high black market value, criminal groups use drones and infrared scopes to scout the area. A 2020 poaching attempt was intercepted, but it forced the rangers to build new observation towers and deploy motion sensors around water sources. This approach is costly but essential. From an ecological perspective, Lake Magadi and the Ngorongoro Swamp form a circulating system, while the black rhino serves as a biological indicator. Maintaining strengths and minimizing weaknesses requires 3 actions: dredging natural outflow channels to stabilize water levels, establishing controlled gene flow corridors toward Lake Manyara, and enhancing anti-poaching systems with sensors instead of relying solely on manual patrols. If these 3 links hold together, Lake Magadi will continue to grow grass, the Ngorongoro Swamp will retain moisture for herds, and the black rhino, witness to 50 million years of evolution, will still walk beneath the Ngorongoro sun, embodying the fragile balance between abundant resources and ever-present risk. In the lowlands of the Ngorongoro Crater, African elephants are one of the most ecologically and biologically dominant species. With a population ranging from 300 to 400 individuals, elephant herds move between swamps and grasslands. The Ngorongoro area serves as a frequent resting point due to its consistent supply of water and vegetation throughout the year. This area is not only essential for their survival, but also functions as a central hub for ecological interactions within this enclosed volcanic basin. The greatest advantage of African elephants lies in their large body size and their ability to reshape their environment. An adult can reach up to 13 feet tall at the shoulder, weigh over 5 tons, and measure around 26 feet in total length, including the trunk and tail. Their tusks can grow up to 10 feet long, with each tusk weighing as much as 200 pounds. Elephants use them to break trees, dig soil, clear paths, and defend themselves when needed. However, their impact goes beyond physical strength. Elephants have the ability to alter their environment in ways that few other species can. When crossing open woodlands or swamps, they unintentionally create natural corridors through dense vegetation that other animals use to move. When they break trees to access food, they also clear areas for smaller herbivores and promote nutrient cycling in the soil. Their behavior of digging for water creates small waterholes, which become accessible sources of moisture for birds, antelopes, and insects during the dry season. The ecological regulation role of elephants is an irreplaceable link that helps maintain balance between vegetation and wildlife in the area. In addition to physical strength, elephants have a complex social structure. Each herd is usually led by an older female, known as the matriarch. She is responsible for guiding the group and protecting its members. When threatened, the herd often forms a protective circle around the calves. This behavior demonstrates a high level of defensive coordination among individuals. It reflects the memory and social intelligence of elephants and increases survival rates for weaker members in wild conditions. African elephants are not solitary giants roaming the wilderness. They are landscape-shaping agents that maintain balance between land, water, and wildlife. To protect this role, anti-poaching measures, herd monitoring, and habitat restoration around the Ngorongoro Swamp are essential. These actions ensure that elephants remain a driving force in the Ngorongoro Crater, rather than a memory of its ecosystem. The Ngorongoro Swamp functions as the regulating basin of the Ngorongoro Crater, where hippos play a central role in the water nutrient cycle. A stable population of 120 to 150 individuals is large enough to influence the aquatic system without exceeding the lake's carrying capacity. Thanks to deep mud and nearby grasses, they rarely leave the area, allowing the wetland ecosystem to function year-round. Their greatest strength lies in their physical traits. An adult weighs around 3,500 pounds, with a round body, short but sturdy legs, and skin up to 2 inches thick that resists dehydration and protects against claws. They secrete a red fluid rich in hipposudoric acid that coats their skin, offering UV protection and natural antibacterial properties. Their jaws can open up to 20 inches wide, and their curved canines reach nearly 20 inches, delivering a bite force of 1,800 marshes. Making them difficult targets for both lions and crocodiles. Their elevated head structure allows their eyes, ears, and nostrils to remain above the water, while the rest of the body stays submerged, minimizing heat exposure and visual detection. Their ability to reshape the wetland is a unique ecological advantage. The trails carved by hippo movements through mud create small channels that link pools around the swamp to Lake Magadi, ensuring oxygen and temperature flow. Their nitrogen and phosphorus-rich dung continuously feeds bacteria, plankton, and alkaline-tolerant algae. This primary biomass supports tilapia and catfish, which are then consumed by storks and short-necked turtles. As a result, energy moves throughout the water column rather than stagnating at one trophic level, supporting unusually high biodiversity for a shallow aquatic system. Their aggressive defense behavior offers both protection and potential risk. If approached within 30 feet, dominant males often attack first, using canines to tear skin or flip small boats. This deters most large predators from entering the swamp. Safeguarding young and reducing water competition for accompanying species such as zebras, buffalo, and elephants. However, during severe dry seasons, crowding increases as more hippos gather in shrinking pools. Internal aggression rises and weaker individuals are more likely to suffer injuries. These open wounds can be infected by Clostridium bacteria, causing severe tissue necrosis. The Ngorongoro hippo is both a nutrient pump sustaining aquatic life and a natural shield that repels predators and external threats. Its strength, body mass, teeth, and ecological impact places it at the center of the food web. Yet its reliance on water, low genetic diversity, and exposure to human conflict are three critical vulnerabilities that require careful management. Long-term solutions include deepening the natural outlet to Lake Magadi, opening temporary movement corridors to the Manyara Basin during drought years, increasing disease screening, and tightening ivory controls. When these links align, the hippo will continue to regulate life at the base of the crater, keeping Ngorongoro not just as a waterhole, but as the energy hub of the entire Ngorongoro ecosystem. In the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, where grasslands, swamps, and lakes converge, the gray-crowned crane stands out as a prominent symbol of the wetland ecosystem. With its bright golden crest and slender gray wings, this bird is both visually striking and ecologically essential. In Ngorongoro, cranes are commonly found around the Ngorongoro Swamp and moist grasslands near Lake Magadi. These areas offer ideal conditions for nesting, foraging, and protecting their young. With long toes and strong legs, gray-crowned cranes move efficiently through shallow wetlands and low shrub zones. They are well adapted to both ground movement and perching on trees. One major strength of the species is its varied diet. Gray-crowned cranes feed on insects, small animals, seeds, and aquatic vegetation. Their long, strong beaks allow them to probe for food on land and in shallow water. This foraging behavior reduces insect pest populations and helps disperse seeds throughout the swamp, supporting plant diversity. Despite their strengths, gray-crowned cranes face serious challenges. Although the population in Ngorongoro remains relatively stable, estimated at 100 to 150 individuals, global numbers are declining rapidly. The main causes are habitat loss, shrinking wetlands, and illegal capture. Maintaining a stable crane population preserves not only the visual richness of the ecosystem, but also the long-term sustainability of the entire living network in the reserve. Ngorongoro is not merely a place where they survive. It is where the unique evolutionary traits of the gray-crowned crane continue to unfold, through each passing wet and dry season. Flocks of lesser flamingos spread across the surface of Lake Magadi, forming a moving layer of color. In daylight, their pink reflections shimmer on the pale green alkaline water, indicating that this lake offers ideal conditions for a species that thrives in extreme environments. Their first major advantage is tolerance to high alkalinity. Salt concentration and pH levels in Lake Magadi exceed the tolerance thresholds of most freshwater species. However, lesser flamingos possess thick leg skin, highly active salt glands, and specialized kidneys that expel excess ions without damaging soft tissues. This biological shield protects them from most aquatic predators and allows them to exploit a nearly exclusive food source. Their primary diet consists of filamentous algae and cyanobacteria, mainly spirulina. With a uniquely curved beak lined with fine keratin filters, they sweep through shallow water to separate microorganisms from sediment. An adult can filter up to 300 grams of biomass per day, absorbing carotenoids to maintain pink plumage and protein for energy conversion. This filtration also removes excess algae, preventing oxygen-depleting algal blooms. Their ability to gather in large numbers provides dual benefits. Groups of up to 15,000 individuals divide into feeding subgroups while maintaining a shared visual perimeter. When threats arise from above or along the water's edge, alarm signals spread quickly, reducing the chance of predation. At the same time, dense droppings increase nitrogen and phosphorus levels in lake sediments, fueling algae regrowth and forming a closed-loop nutrient cycle. Lesser flamingos also transfer energy up the food web. Broken eggs, chick mortality, and uneaten algae feed aquatic insects and alkaline tilapia. These in turn support yellow-billed storks and fish eagles. Through this layered flow of organic matter, the entire Lake Magadi network benefits, even though most initial biomass is usable only by flamingos. However, this high degree of specialization creates significant vulnerabilities. When water levels drop, alkalinity may rise beyond the tolerance of spirulina, reducing food availability and forcing flamingos to migrate to Lake Natron or Lake Manyara. During the 2016 drought, nearly 60% of the Magadi population left, disrupting the nutrient cycle and causing sharp declines in fish and piscivorous bird populations for 3 consecutive months. A conservation strategy must focus on 3 pillars. The first is hydrological control, maintaining dry season water levels above 1.2 meters to keep alkalinity within the growth range of spirulina. The second is creating a 500-meter quiet buffer zone around nesting areas to reduce disturbance from tourists and vehicles. The third is water quality monitoring, regular floating waste removal, and establishing ecological corridors to Lake Manyara to support migration during severe lake shifts. If these components are implemented in unison, the vibrant display of lesser flamingos will continue to color the alkaline lake as they stretch their necks, flap their wings, and gather to forage. This is not merely a spectacle for camera lenses. The flock serves as a biological filter and a nutrient recycler, safeguarding the health of the specialized ecosystem at the bottom of the Ngorongoro Crater. The shadow cat of the grassland, the serval and the art of silent hunting. Across the vast grasslands of Ngorongoro, the eland, the largest antelope species in the world, does not stand out for its speed or aggression. Instead, it is recognized for its massive size, exceptional endurance, and remarkable ability to adapt to harsh environments. In an ecosystem where intense heat and dry soils are constant challenges, elands not only survive but maintain a stable population that contributes to ecological balance. An adult eland can stand up to 1.8 meters at the shoulder, stretch over 3 meters in length, and weigh as much as 1,000 kilograms. This large body mass enables it to withstand extreme climates and prolonged food shortages. Its light brown and white coat helps regulate body temperature and provides camouflage in dry grasslands. Elands also have a slow reproductive rate. They experience long gestation periods and low birth frequencies, which limit population recovery after poaching or habitat loss. While their numbers in Ngorongoro remain stable due to protection efforts, populations in other regions are declining. Ecologically, elands occupy a crucial role in energy transfer. They feed on low-level plants and serve as a major food source for top predators, such as lions and hyenas. By grazing on grasses and shrubs near the ground, elands help control vegetation growth, reduce wildfire risk, and create open spaces for other species. Elands represent quiet resilience. They do not rely on speed or brute strength, but thrive through physical adaptation, herd strategy, and the ability to use food sources overlooked by others. In the windswept plains, the eland stands as evidence that survival often depends more on adaptation than on force. Ngorongoro hosts many remarkable species, but few animate the grasslands as vividly as Grant's zebra. Each morning, black and white striped herds appear in the eastern plains and along Lake Magadi, where fresh grass and shallow water support 4,000 to 5,000 individuals year-round. Their first advantage is optical camouflage. Each zebra has a unique stripe pattern, but when the herd moves, the alternating light and dark bands blur together. This disrupts predator cheetah. Its top speed of 65 kilometers per hour can only be maintained for a few hundred meters. A harem male must defend a territory of 5 to 7 square kilometers, which can cause exhaustion during the mating season, creating opportunities for predators to target pregnant females. Even so, Grant's zebras serve as landscape engineers. By removing coarse grasses, they expose new shoots for antelope and convert tough cellulose into fiber-rich dung, supporting beetles and soil microbes. This regeneration loop keeps Ngorongoro's grasslands green even after severe droughts. Grant's zebras prove that collective strength, adaptive anatomy, and biological borrowings like their stripes can elevate a medium-sized grazer into a keystone species. In Ngorongoro, every black and white hoof step not only stirs dust from the trails, but also turns the gears of energy and regulates life across the closed savanna system. Grant's gazelles spread across the open grasslands of Ngorongoro, turning the plains into a softly moving landscape. An estimated 1,500 to 2,000 individuals occupy the low grassy areas, where open visibility allows early detection of predators, but scattered shrubs still provide cover when needed. Their average height ranges from 80 to 95 centimeters at the shoulder, with body weights between 35 and 80 kilograms. This moderate size enables quick acceleration without excessive energy loss. Curved horns reaching up to 80 centimeters serve as effective deterrents against young hyenas and inexperienced cheetahs. Their physical advantage lies in long tendons, flexible ankle joints, and elastic muscles. These traits allow Grant's gazelle to sprint up to 80 kilometers per hour over short distances and maintain 50 kilometers per hour over longer runs. Their light brown coat, white underbelly, and black side stripes create a visual break in the body outline. Grant's gazelles make clear ecological contributions. Their close grazing stimulates the growth of new shoots. Their nitrogen-rich dung supports dung beetles and enriches the soil. As mid-level energy consumers, they help sustain predators such as cheetahs, lions, and hyenas. Effective conservation requires 3 key actions. Maintain grassland rejuvenation through controlled burns, distribute small water points rather than relying on one large source, and increase anti-poaching patrols during peak tourism seasons. Grant's gazelles demonstrate that physical agility, group awareness, and digestive efficiency can elevate a mid-size herbivore into a keystone species of Ngorongoro. Every light step across the grass is more than graceful movement. It is a precise balance between individual survival and ecological stability. The outer rim of Ngorongoro transitions into the Serengeti grasslands. This is a shared hunting ground for 3 dominant predators: cheetahs, spotted hyenas, and African wild dogs. They compete for the same prey: young antelope, zebra foals, and occasionally large birds, across a flat, dry, and exposed terrain. Each predator relies on a different strength, but each also exposes weaknesses that others can exploit. Understanding this balance reveals the invisible script of predator conflict that plays out every morning across the crater edge. Cheetahs rely on explosive speed but lack endurance. A lightweight frame, flexible spine, and powerful hind legs allow them to reach 100 kilometers per hour in under 4 seconds. They excel in open areas with sparse vegetation, where their long tails help steer and their claws grip the soil. However, the sprint comes at a cost. Their heart rate spikes to dangerous levels, forcing them to pant heavily for 2 to 3 minutes. During this time, hyenas or vultures often locate the kill. If outnumbered, the cheetah must surrender the prey to conserve energy for the next hunt. Their light jaws are specialized for neck holds, not for taking down heavy animals. Catching an adult zebra is nearly impossible without a precise angle of attack. Spotted hyenas rely on powerful jaws and coordinated pack behavior. A typical clan of 15 to 20 individuals patrols the crater rim, looking for signs of heat exhaustion in prey. A bite force of 1,100 psi and calcium-resistant stomach acid allow them to digest entire bones. Their phosphate-rich waste improves soil quality in areas with poor minerals. Hyenas do not depend on short bursts of speed. They use stamina to chase prey over 4 to 5 kilometers at 40 kilometers per hour. Eventually, the prey collapses from heart and lung failure. Their main weakness lies in internal conflict. Complex female-dominant hierarchies force individuals to avoid rank-based clashes during pursuit. This lowers their hunting efficiency at critical moments. Alone, a 60-kilogram hyena cannot subdue a full-grown antelope without help. In open terrain, their loud communication calls can alert cheetahs and wild dogs to the location of a fresh kill. African wild dogs apply high-efficiency team tactics. Each hunting unit of 10 to 15 individuals functions like a strike force. 2 fast runners flank the prey, 3 endurance runners press from behind, while the rest spread out to intercept escape routes. Their large ears and patchy skin aid heat dissipation. They can sustain 45 kilometers per hour for more than 3 kilometers. However, they rely heavily on pack size. Losing more than 3 members creates gaps and weakens the hunt. They are also vulnerable to hyenas due to their small body weight, just 25 kilograms, and weak bone-crushing ability. Their numbers are low, with only 50 to 100 individuals living around the crater rim. They are highly vulnerable to disease outbreaks. A rabies epidemic in 2021 killed 14% of the adult population in just 6 weeks. This dynamic drives ecological effects along the Ngorongoro rim. Cheetah speed controls the number of young antelopes, reducing overgrazing pressure. Hyena endurance clears carcasses thoroughly, limiting disease and recycling minerals into the soil. Wild dog pack tactics force herbivores to move constantly, scattering nitrogen-rich droppings that stimulate new grass growth. Ngorongoro is one of the few places on Earth where the full cycle of nature can be observed within a confined area. From the crater rim, the ecosystem unfolds like a living model. Lions hunt, antelopes migrate in herds. Buffalo rest near the lakeshore, each action following instinct and natural order. Every species, whether as large as an elephant or as small as a rodent, plays a role in maintaining the biological rhythm of this reserve. Ngorongoro's uniqueness does not lie in its size or fame, but in its ecological isolation. This closed environment gives scientists a rare chance to monitor every link in the food chain without interruption, something uncommon in other wilderness areas. However, this very isolation also makes Ngorongoro more vulnerable to climate change, tourism pressure, and human activities. Ngorongoro reminds us that sustaining wild rhythms in a place like this requires the integration of science, policy, and collective responsibility. If one species disappears, the entire system will feel the impact. And if Ngorongoro loses its balance, many other wild regions may soon follow.